This podcast is brought to you by Miley for Men and Miley Luxury Cosmetics Organic Skincare Products. Available now on Etsy. Scan QR code.
As I like to say, another sunny day in LA. What we're going to talk about today, coming to you live from Woodland Hills. It's about 100 degrees up here, and I got on a black t-shirt like an idiot. Anyway, tune in on the other side to see what today's episode is about. Welcome back. Episode 5. Straight to the shit, and we going to get into it right now. The biggest lie writers believe about the WGA is that it will save their script. Or maybe I shouldn't call it a lie. Maybe I should just say being misinformed and not really knowing how it works. So stop confusing WGA registration with a copyright, because they're entirely two different things. The simplest way I can explain it is the Copyright Office equals ownership protection. WGA registration equals evidence of creation. And they are not the same thing. So when you register a script with the U.S. Copyright Office, you are creating an official government record that you own the work. Think of it as a deed to your house or the pink slip to your car. It establishes ownership. The date of registration is public record. It gives you the ability to sue for copyright infringement. And there are also additional legal remedies if someone copies your work. So let's say you let somebody see it and they go ahead and produce it. You don't know it. They steal your shit. Copyright registration is what the courts look at when you go to court. WGA registration is basically a timestamp service, if you want to think of it like that. It basically gives a receipt showing you possess the script on a certain date. Okay? So that helps establish when the material existed, that you submitted it on a particular date, and you can use it as evidence in a dispute. But it does not, by any means, create copyright ownership. And it does not replace copyright registration. So when I deal with clients or whoever, it could be a friend, anybody call me for advice, I say do both. Do both to really protect yourself. The copyright gives you the most protection. When you sell a script, I'm gonna use a film for film right now. If you sell a screenplay to a producer or to a studio, and it's your original screenplay, basically what they're buying, they're really not buying a piece of paper you wrote it on, even though they're going to take the script. Is what they're really doing is buying the copyright from you. So it's a transfer of copyright. And basically what you negotiate, your attorney, your agent, I'm not an attorney. I can offer you advice and I can give you some pointers as far as what to, ask for in the negotiation, but I'm not an attorney by any stretch of the imagination. I just happen to read a lot and know a lot about this from my music days. But that's what happens. They buy the script, you get a script sale, and it's a transfer of copyright. But you may not transfer all the rights to it. So they buy the screenplay, but they don't buy the rights to turn it into a TV show or to actually make it a book or to do a game or make a game out of it. They may not buy that. So you can retain some of the rights. That's why copyright is very important. But once you sell that script, it's basically no longer yours. And this is what happens with a lot of screenplays, all right? Because studios have a gang of writers that they keep on file, right? They're employed by these studios, and they're employed to rewrite scripts. So your original script will sell. Let's say you wrote a crime thriller and you're the only writer, you get that check. The studio gets it. They want to produce it. But they may not feel the script is strong enough. They liked it enough to buy it because they can see the potential. But they may not think it's strong enough to send out to a director yet. So they go through their file of writers and they put writers on it who write in that particular genre to get it in the shape that they feel is adequate to send it to a director. So a director gets it. They agree to come on board, but they have their vision of it. Like I said in the Two Kingdoms, when it comes to film, the director is king. So now that director wants to have a rewrite, get somebody they like to rewrite it. So now they bring on another writer, and now the rewrite is getting a rewrite. And this is a vicious cycle that could go on for a while. And that's what they call being in development, right? A project's in development. You hear that term all the time. And it drives the creators crazy. And that's where you also hear that term when you hear people say, my project is languishing in development hell. Because that's exactly what it is. It's a hellish cycle. But since they own the copyright, they could do what the hell they want. They can have as many rewrites as they want to pay for. And by the time your crime thriller comes out with the same title and everything, you may not even recognize it. And that damn crime thriller may wind up just being an action comedy when it's all said and done. Because that's how much scripts can actually change from the sale to the time it gets produced and comes out. On the other hand, there are some writers who are just very strong writers. They have a strong voice. They understand structure. They can do dialogue. They can do action. Whatever it calls for, they can do it. And so you may not see as many writers on it. But I almost guarantee, you're going to see another writer on that script who wasn't the original writer that sold it. And now this is where the WGA gets to flex their muscle. So what happened is studios are what they call signatory, meaning they align with all the unions, the Writers Guild, Directors Guild, the Screen Actors Guild, and there's a lot of rules they have to follow. And so what the WGA would do to make sure everybody gets proper credit, if there's a bunch of writers on the script, they do what they call a credit arbitration. I like to say a credit audit, but they call it a credit arbitration. And what they do is they will review every draft, every rewrite, all the production changes, all the notes, and all the contributions. And that's how they determine who deserves what credit. So you could either get a written by credit, a screenplay by credit, a story by credit, or a teleplay. But I'm going to take that out for now because I'm going to do that in the next episode because this is a lot in this episode. Or a created by credit. And by the time your movie comes out, like I said, should they actually produce it, not only will it have the same title, but by the time they do that credit arbitration, you may not even get credited as a writer on it. So the only money you may ever see is the money you got from that script sale. Because no credit means less money. But if you have a good agent and you have a good lawyer, they know how this game goes. So whatever they negotiate during that script sale, they make sure that regardless of how many writers get put on it, regardless if you get writer's credit, that you will still get residual, some form of residual. That's what a good agent and a good attorney would do. Because if you don't make money, they don't make money. All right. So hopefully now you have a little better understanding of the difference and why, in my opinion, you should have both. Because this is how the WGA flexes their muscle. And it works hand in hand with the copyright if you ever have a legal issue.